All right. Again, my name is Damola Gola, and I'm happy to have everyone here. And thanks so much for joining. I promise we won't take more than an hour or 5 minutes. And yeah, we have, a good number of students here that are willing to share their experiences. As you can see, persons from diverse companies and industries. We tried on our ends to make sure that we inculcate diverse backgrounds from different departments just to like accommodate everyone in the faculty. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and share the session agenda with you. Yeah, so the welcome address, which I'll be giving very soon, and this is like the lineup for the speakers as well. And to cap it off, we're going to have a CV and resume session with one of our speakers as well. And yeah, we'll have our final remarks. So just to like introduce the session to you, which I've said about some minutes ago. So for your SIWES, you are going to be picking up your letter at SIWPO. If you do not know where SIWPO is, it's around the main library. So I think you can start collecting your letters from now. Then the best advice I'm going to give is try as much as possible to apply to different companies as early as possible. Since pre-COVID, it was quite easy, but post-COVID has made a lot of things more difficult, and you kind of have less opportunities, especially internship opportunities. So the best advice I can give is start reaching out to people from now. Like, don't wait till the end of first semester. Don't wait till second semester comes. Just try as much as possible to keep applying and start from now. So the moment you have your letter signed from SIWPO, you can start applying, not just physical application, you can also start applying, have a soft copy of the letter, and also just try to, apply to different companies. So without further ado, I'll be calling on, once again, would be happy if you can mute your mic. Yeah, thank you very much. We'd be happy, so, just for everyone to make it seamless. So yeah, without further ado, I'll be introducing Fortune, which is our first speaker to for the next steps. So yeah, Fortune, if you're around, you can just wave so I can
Hola, I'm here.
All right, thank you very much, Fortune. I'll just go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
All right, thank you. Okay.
All right, sorry, please, before Fortune starts, please, I noticed there seems to be an error with the call. So if you logged in and your name is appearing as Damola Gwala, please kindly rename yourselves. So to do that, go to the chat, click on your name, and try to rename.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Vivian. Like I said, we had some technical glitches. That was why we started late. But if just to make everything easy for me, you can try to rename yourself and just make things easy for us on our end. Thank you very much, Vivian, for that. So Fortune, you can go ahead, and thank you very much for joining us.
Okay, so I'll just share my screen now. Can we see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right. Okay. So good day, everyone. I am Fortune at Dikogbe. I'm a 500 level student of chemical engineering, and I will be giving us a quick brief of my experience at Egni Power Station. So this is just the content we'll be going through quickly. And yeah, so Egni Power Plant, as the name might suggest, is a power station, and it generates about 12 to 16% of the nation's total power in megawatts. And so yeah, there are reasons why you may have light or you may not have light. One of the reasons, anyways. EGNI is a steam powered plant, meaning that water, energy from the vaporized water is used to generate electricity. So that's why you see water and electricity, and then of course sell it and make money. So that is EGNI in a nutshell. So at EGNI there are a whole lot of departments, but the relevant ones are the ones I'll talk about here for engineering students. So first there is the EGNI is divided into operations and maintenance, because that's what the plant of this skill uses or needs. The operations department is subdivided into chemistry and then the core operations. They typically don't take interns into the core operations, but that's usually for mechanical, chemical engineers. For chemistry is usually more suited for chemical engineers. And what happens at chemistry is basically the water treatment and purification up to when the water has to go into the main plant. So so that's involved a lot of separation processes, and is where chemical engineers would thrive. I know this is an engineering meeting, but industrial chemistry students also get assigned to the chemistry department, and it has a lot of sub-departments, so subsections actually. And basically they're in charge of all aspects of operations that involve chemicals. Yes, while the other part of operations are in charge of the mechanical end of things. So after operation, we have maintenance. Maintenance is divided broadly into 4. We have the mechanical, instrumentation, electrical, and workshop. Short-term planning is like I don't know. Okay, so can we see my cursor?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So short-term planning is not exactly engineering work per se. They're just the ones that are in charge of assigning roles. They do a lot of typing and printing. So that's why I didn't mention them over there. So maintenance, short-term planning, and but yeah, for mechanical, they're in charge of all aspects of mechanical maintenance and operation of the turbines and the boiler, because it's a power plant. So we need to boil purified water and then use it to run the turbine. Then we have the Instrumentational Control. They're in charge of all the control systems, ensuring that they are properly calibrated, that they work the way they should. The electrical section, that goes without saying, deal with all the electrical connections and everything in the plant. It cuts across both the plant to the actual offices. If there are issues with different, if there's any electrical issue in the entire plant, yeah, they're in charge of it. And then workshop, we deal with a lot of large equipment. You get, like I just mentioned, turbines and boilers. We deal with massive pumps. The scales are quite large. So there's usually a lot of work to do there. Welding and all those operations are carried out in the workshop. So of course, as you may have guessed, this is most suited for mechanical engineers, electrical engineers. Actually, all engineering students can work here, but I mean, those are like the core of it. So yeah, typically when you're assigned to these sections, over the entire period of time, you'll be split into all 4 of these sections. So you actually go through each one of them, regardless of your discipline. But for people that do more of chemical engineering, you would also have to do chemistry in addition. And it's all subject to change. You just have to communicate with HR. So those are the relevant departments and where you be looking at working when you're there. So the case for EGNI, I will just make this quick. You would get a lot of practical engineering experience because it's a very large plant and it is an old plant. So yeah, the useful life of the plant is 30 years, which clocked about 5 years ago. So there's a lot of maintenance that is happening essentially, and you will see a lot of tools being opened up, and brought back together. It's not is a system that undergoes consistent and constant maintenance. So you definitely get a lot of practical engineering experience. And yeah, same idea is what I'm completing in the second line, but in this case, I wanted to stress on the fact that you'd be quite literally seeing a lot of the theoretical principles that you just thought, oh, I know it's in real life. You see them at work, yeah, on large scales. So I mean, those kind of things are very insightful. They actually help you to understand it. And yeah, the plant has a great working environment. Yeah, so the systems that are put in place, everything is actually just really nice because there's like a working section, and then there is the actual power plant. So yeah, you really enjoy it. We have safety meetings and things like that. So the overall working environment is quite great, but why shouldn't you want to go to the power plant? First is quite far away. So though the working environment is very nice, it's situated at Ijede Ikorodu. So it's like another journey when you get to Ikorodu. Meaning that the best thing you need to do is either rent somewhere close or at least move to somewhere in Ikorodu to ease stress. So yeah, it's very far away. That's something that might deter you. And then the expected salary is not comparable to you get in, say, oil companies. They pay, right now, they pay 20,000. They may or may not increase it because in my time it was increased to 20,000. But yeah, so they have the view of, as per they're the largest steam power plant, they have this what's the word now? Let's say pride that you should be happy to work with us. You get, so especially the older staffs, anyways. So that's why they didn't really bother with paying a lot of money to interns. But yeah, things may or may not change as these older staffs are phased out. But those are just the things you want to consider against going for a power plant. And then finally, the application process. So to apply, they usually take in 2 batches of interns every year. There's a January to June, and then there's a July to December. Unfortunately, it is fixed like that, meaning that the January to June, for that, the application has already begun. I'm not sure if the link is still on the careers page. So, and our school calendar, unfortunately, is sort of, what's the word now? It's no longer in line with their calendar. It used to be. So it might make things a tad difficult. So the options are simply that unless you want to start very late, you probably want to get started somewhere first, and then when the application starts around May, you also apply to exam. So you can do like maybe the last couple of months of your internship at the plant, if you so desire. And if the application link is still on the portal now, then I mean you can always apply and tell them that you plan to do from April to I think September, even though it's actually January to June, you get, and then see how that goes. I'm not sure the link will still be on the portal for January to June because they have a lot of processes, like you see. So after filling the form, each of shortlisted, you would have to take a quiz. Right now, the quiz is done virtually, so it's like an online quiz. There'll be a proctor that will be in a meeting with you while you take the quiz. Usually, it's a math, English, and some technical things, so like workshop-related stuff, or like basic thermodynamics. You get just stuff to know that you have a general idea what you're doing there, or what they do there rather. And then if you are shortlisted after the quiz, you would attend an interview, and basically they want to know if you know what you're coming to do. So I mean, when I prepared for my interview, I just did a quick search on Quora on what chemical engineers do at steam power plants, and I basically just told them that, and they were quite shocked that I knew that. So it's pretty much easy, and of course you have to have the basic knowledge of knowing who you are, because they'll ask you to introduce yourself, and you want to know yourself. So yeah, it just those simple things, and it was not exactly a long session because they have a lot of students to interview, so they wouldn't have a lot of time to take. So yeah, and once that is done, you'll be expecting a final mail. The interview, by the way, was also virtual in my time. So I know the year before, that was before the whole lockdown, it was physical. So yeah, I don't think they'll be going back to physical anytime soon. So you can still expect the virtual application process. So yeah, and the final step is just a mail. You'll be getting a mail from them to as regards the resumption date. Yeah, you resume. So that's just how it works. And that'll be it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Fortune, for sharing your experience. Without wasting more time, yeah, would ensure that we get the summary of this session for everyone. And yeah, so our next speaker is going to be David from M1A. So David, I can see you are here. You can go ahead. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Just give me 1 second to share my screen. So can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so wonderful. Good morning, everyone. My name is Akomo David Oluwatomiwa. I'm a 500 level student for Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, and I'll be speaking to you guys briefly on my internship experience, and I'll try and make it relevant to the faculty. Okay, so this is what I'll be going through, how I got my internship, how to make a compelling application and intern at the company in the next, I think, 5 minutes. All right, so for my company, I worked at Mecanu and Abbey, Nigeria Limited. It's a civil engineering company. It's a civil engineering consultancy company, so it focuses on for my application process. I was a bit fastidious with my application process. I applied, I think the first working week of January 2020. I was just being, meticulous. COVID happened, so I mean, we didn't have IT that year, and I had to apply again, January 2021, which made things a bit messy. During my application, I submitted a M1A doesn't really have like a template application format. For instance, there's not something you have to submit. You just based on experience, based on my research, I knew I was to come with my CV, a cover letter that explains who I am and why I want to work with the company. My results, I mean, it's quite clear over the years, for over a decade now, MOE prioritizes academic results. So if 100 people apply to the company and they select two, more often than not, they select the two with the highest results for civil engineering students. After which you get to an interview stage. For Morgan and Abbey, the interview stage is just for formality. Once you have passed the application process, that is the HR manager has contacted you that, okay, they would like to see you again, then you're probably gotten into the company. So next, I'll be talking about to make a compelling application. All right, I think this is what is most important to the faculty or everyone in this chat. Before you apply to any company, it's necessary you do your research, right? It's necessary you have an idea of what you can search M1A on Google, you can search them on LinkedIn, you can send them a mail at info@m1anigeria.com. Basically, just do your research, know what the company is about so that you are not caught unguarded unnecessarily. You would like to, or I think it would be helpful if you make research based on predecessors. I'm talking about guys that have done internships there before you. If you have access to them, then reach out to them. Hi, how did you apply? What did you do? What didn't you do? How did you dress? How did you look? When did you apply? Those kind of stuff. Just guys that have come before you is very vital to have a structure about how to go about your application before you even go So for my company now, it's usually based on merit. That's the second point. Is I mean, they just prioritize academic results, if I'm being honest. So if you have good academic results from Morgan and Abbey, you're more than sorted, really. For my year, because of COVID, they don't want to take IT students, right? They initially, when I came January 2021, the HR manager told me that they won't be taking this year. And I just told her to, I was quite confident that my application was compelling. So when she saw my results, she just said that she would meet the MD and she'll see what he says about it. And when the guy saw it, Azim was also amazed and he called me back to come and work with the company. But in the case where you're going to a company that isn't strictly on merit, like isn't strictly academic results, I mean, you can capitalize your network. I always advise people to utilize the connections you have. I mean, don't dull it. If your daddy knows somebody, your daddy's uncle, sister, brother knows somebody working in Shell or McKinsey or Schlumberger or whatever, utilize that network to ensure that you get a good IT company. Don't dull it. Don't waste time. I mean, as much as you want to get it by yourself, maybe for personal pride, but when you have network, use it. That's why you have the network. So ensure your documents are lucid and cogent. That's just making a clear and concise application, right? So when I applied in 2020 and when I applied in 2021, my CV in 2020 was, I mean, totally different from my CV in 2021. I had done more research on how to make a CV. I had improved my write-up in the sense that it was clear for anybody to read. It was quite concise. And I didn't do this necessarily on my own per se. I met with people that are good with this kind of stuff. So I reached out to, I say, my mentors or people that have gone before me. So they taught me, they just reviewed my CV really, or reviewed my work. For the last point, if you have an interview, you have to prepare for the interview. I think Fortune mentioned his section on Quora about what Edwin does, what a chemical engineer should do at a steam power plant, right? So if you like to prepare for your interview, for me, I would advise that when you're preparing for your interview, actually have the interview with somebody. I usually do that. So I'll just speak to somebody that's above me and the person will critique my work, right? Okay, it didn't make sense here. I didn't like your introduction. You do this better. You are too slow. You are too fast. You are not pacing properly. Your words are not clear. That kind of stuff. You like to do that to ensure that your A game is brought to the table. You get. Lastly, second to last actually, intern at the company. Okay, so for Morgan Monitor and Abbey, right? Before I applied to the company, I spoke to guys as far back as 5 years ago, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, and guys that applied before I came. So I knew what to expect. I wasn't surprised about any single thing I met there. It is a stressful company. Because of COVID, we started resuming at 9 instead of 8 to 5, so it was 9 to 5. But that 5 o'clock is really just for formality's sake. We close around 7 almost every day. They're always under pressure. I think little staff and a lot of work that they are doing. So it's a bit difficult to adapt, right? It's not the regular, work that after 5 just when you're chilling. Sometimes even after 7, they'll still give you work to do in your house. It was a lot of stress. But you really want to hammer your adaptation stage. You really want to understand the organization structure that you are working with, in the sense that some companies now, they may be, I don't want to use Yoruba in quotes, but they may prioritize respect over efficiency or something like that. If you are working in that kind of company, give them their respect, right? While you're also being efficient. You may be in a company where everybody calls themselves by their first name. So you call me David, you don't need to call me Mr. David. Get used to that. Understand the organization structure, understand people in the organization, adapt as in your first maybe month or 2 months. Take it slow, really. You don't have to rush things to be perfect. You don't have to always give an intelligent suggestion at every point in time. Just take it slow, learn from the company. So secondly, I'll say you should be intentional about your learning. Most students, right, I've noticed is, especially when they work in a company that they are not used to, is sometimes you may be uninitiated in the sense that you don't have the maybe skills that everybody has in the company. You may feel less. For instance, maybe you have been a top guy everywhere you have worked in your life, and this company you're not more a top guy in quotes. You are just a normal guy, and you are wondering, what's happening? Really, I'll just say be calm about that. You are there to learn. That's why you are working in the company. That's why you're doing 6 months IT. You are there to learn. So calm down and know you are there to learn. If you're not learning, then you won't be there, right? If you had old knowledge, you won't be working there probably. So just take it easy. I'll say you should seek practical knowledge, right? Anything you're learning should be useful. You should be able to use it to do something. Don't just gather knowledge for knowledge's sake. Make your learning productive, something you can utilize. Even I prefer if you get transferable skills in your company, in the sense that what you learn in this company, when you leave this company, you can still utilize it. You get some companies now, you may work on in that once you leave the company, you never work on that machine again till the day you die. Well, still learn that, but I'll say you should prioritize more on skills that you can take out of that company into a different company as you move on your career. Okay, so after that, yeah, I'll say you should build relationships. In my last slide, I said you should capitalize on your network. So you would like to build a new network at the company you're working with. As time goes on, you realize that, okay, some people fall more in line with your career goals, your passions, and some people are just cool to know, or they have an exposure, or they have some skills that you like to learn from them. So build relationships with those kind of people. Of course, people won't want to build relationship with you if you are not kind of useful, proactive, ask intelligent questions, do the normal stuff that I think every normal student should be doing at the IT company. Do the work they give you to do, come early, dress well, if your company cares about dressing, that kind of stuff. So build good relationships with your company staff. You don't know how they would help you. For me, when I came to the company, there was a guy that left, or there's some guys that left, really, they traveled out of the country. So before they left, I just had like a 2-hour conversation with them, asking why they left, kind of, and I realized that one of them was leaving to pursue an education, a postgraduate degree, a PhD. And for someone like me who's passionate about further education, right? So having that conversation with him, knowing the school was going to, gave me more knowledge about how to go about my own PhD application whenever I'm going to run it. You get, and I sent, I don't know, I connected with him in the sense that I have his number, I have his details. So I reach out to him from time to time, and I have a new friend, really. If I'm ever going to stay in that country where he went to, I have somebody I know there. Okay, and lastly, I'll say you should have fun.
Sharing with 4 people. Now you have to wait for like that person.
Right.
Normal is number X now.
Well, David, are you still there?
No. Ah.
Okay. In a case, I think David has been out, but yeah, just moving forward would be I'll be calling on Favor to take on the next session. So Favor, if you're around, you can just go ahead.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I think there's an issue. I'm trying to share my.
Hello, Favor, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I think somebody else is speaking. So I'm trying to share my screen right now and it's not really working. Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, you can try that now.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Please, I would like to confirm if you can see my screen.
Yeah, hello, good morning. Yes. All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Favor. I'm a product designer and I am a 500 level computer engineering student. And today I will be speaking on getting an internship role. First of all, I would like to start with So I was speaking about the company I did my internship, how I got my internship, other ways to get internship, skill required and habits to develop before you get an internship placement or after you get an internship placement. So about IQ Labs, it's a company that applies computer science and engineering to develop innovative products and solutions to help businesses in the community. We provide software as a service and software as a product. Basically, research and development is the core of what we specialize in IQ. So we have different departments which involve businesses, general operations, product management, engineering, research and development. Then we have the product design team. So basically, each of these departments have different roles that they play. So as an intern, you get to have varieties of where you might want to function. You might want to be in the product design department, which I was in. So that department basically reviewed innovative prototypes, user interface and user experience for digital products. Some people can call it UI UX designing. So that's basically what I did there as a product designer. So some of the services we offer at IQ is to build mobile applications, create software as a product and as a service, like I said before. And also we have a kind of like a learning platform for a lot of interns. So it's a place that you can be in school, you can still be working there as an intern. So they offer remote opportunities as well as physical opportunities. So it's more of like a hybrid system. So as a student, you can start applying there if you're interested to work as maybe a front-end developer, a back-end developer, a product designer, a product manager, or basically maybe you're a computer science student and you need time to like build up your skills on something maybe you have started developing, and you can just apply. You can apply anytime. So they always have rooms to accommodate interns. So I was going to mention something now. Maybe I'll remember later. So IQ Labs offered paid internships. So they have stipends they give to interns, like about 30,000 naira minimum you get a month when you work with IQ Labs, and it's not so far from campus, so it's an advantage to you, and you get to work remotely as well. You don't have to go to the office also. So how I got my internship placement, I just sent out email. I sent to other companies stating my interest and the role I would like to function in. I included my resume. And before that, I had done a few research about the role I was going for, and I've gathered some acquired skills that will be required to perform in that role. So I was going there having something to offer to the company, not just that I want to learn. So it's very important that you have something to offer. You may not have technical skills, but you should have like a soft skill, something that makes you different, that shows that you, okay, yes, you actually have something to give to the company, not that you are just coming to learn. Like a friend told me that whenever you are sending out applications, maybe you are writing an email or you're sending a letter, make sure that letter is showing that you have something to bring to the table. So nobody wants to hire somebody that does not do anything. You can't just come and not function at all. So after sending out an email, including my CV, I did an assessment. It was a virtual assessment. They tested my technical skills. They gave me a task to do so I did pick the software that I want to use to do that task. I was asked to develop, I think a responsive website for a sport betting website. Yes, I think I did that. Then also they tested my basic knowledge in mathematics, physics, and just like IQ tests basically, and everything was virtually. So they take a lot of interns, especially from Unilag. I think we were up to like 8 from my class. I got internship placements there as well. So I want to speak about other ways you can get internship placements, like applications. If you send out a lot of mails, I sent out a lot of mails. I got feedback saying, okay, we don't have space, we're not taking it right now. Then I think somebody sent me another offer after I already got this internship. After this, so I sent out a lot of mails so that I have a lot of options. Then I can now wait that, okay, this place is closer to school. It gives me flexibility, opportunities to like plan my calendar very well. So you get issues. It's very good. You send out a lot of mail, so you have a lot of options to pick from. Then you can take the better offer from all you have. So you can get internship placement by recommendation. Maybe you have a friend or a colleague that knows, like, okay, you do this, this kind of work that you do. So they'll be able to recommend you to somebody or tell you when there's an opportunity, maybe in the firm that they are working, or if they stumble upon any opportunity, they can actually tell you that as well. So another way to get internship placement via social media. I think a few people in my class got via Twitter by just posting what they do on Twitter and putting themselves out. This is what I do, and I'm looking for internship placement. A lot of people do that as well. You can have like LinkedIn, people post job adverts. If you have like a small network that you have there, you're building a brand for yourself on LinkedIn, on Instagram, you can easily get a job offer there. Then other ways to get internship placement can be like, maybe there's a company you want to work for, you have done your research about that company, and you have found out that, okay, these are the skills that are required for me to get this particular role that I'm interested in. You can just send out an email. If you have like on their website or anything, you can easily get an opportunity from them as well. Please hope I'm not too fast.
So yeah, you can continue.
Yes. So required skills to get an internship can be technical skills. So your technical skills can be maybe something that you know how to do. You might be in civil engineering department. You do, you should know how to use the software that your job specification. At least you don't have to be a pro, but just have an idea of, okay, how to use certain software like maybe AutoCAD and the likes. Then if you are applying for a software role, if you want to be a programmer, just have like basic knowledge, because my company, most of us, we had basic knowledge. Even if they gave us room of learning, we had a lot of learning experience. IKEEP is a place that if you go there to work, you will gather experience, because they put you in the niche of working on live projects. Not that you just sit down and say, okay, I'm still learning. You might be learning, and when they give you a task to do, you have to go the extra mile of learning to do that task. So you have to like have an idea of something that you want to do, that, okay, you know how to do basic tasks, that, okay, I can do this, and I have a basic knowledge of this, so that you'll be able to build up on that foundation that you have laid. So data analysis skills is a skill. And you just know how to just analyze it using Microsoft softwares like Word, Excel, and you know how to use it very well. It is a skill. It may just be Photoshop that you know how to play around with. It is a skill. So you put it there as well. So another thing too is soft skills. Communication skill is very, very important. You should know how to communicate very well in a way that people will understand what you are trying to do. Maybe it can be like speaking one-to-one, or maybe via writing. Writing is very, very important. What everybody will say now is that if you want to communicate with somebody, just put it on writing so you can practice how to write very well. People may laugh at you that, okay, you are not writing very well, but it's something that you should work on every day. If you have to ask for help to do that, please do. Because at some point I had that issue of writing a lot, and everybody just tells me that, okay, before you send out an email, send it to somebody to review it, so they can tell you that, okay, change this and change that as well. So always have like Grammarly. Grammarly is a good tool, yes. But
there's a Grammarly.
Hello, please can you mute your mic? So writing is very important in terms of communication. Have like a mini mentor that, okay, before you send out any information via writing, maybe an application mail, you send it to somebody to look at. I had that okay, before I send out any application, I will draft out my writing and send it to a friend that, okay, do you think it's okay? They cannot tell me, okay, we structure this first paragraph, make it, try to order it, that, okay, everything works out in a very good user flow. You don't just start writing an email. After introducing yourself, you should write a brief explanation of maybe the company before you now start saying about the role you want to apply for. You don't just start writing. So you have to have like a proper structure and flow when you are writing. Then if the job role you are applying for requires a portfolio, please get one. It might be like some companies now, if you're applying for them, and maybe as a front-end developer or something, they like to ask for a few things that you have done, like a mini portfolio. If it requires that, please try to get one. There's still time. You can start applying now and start seeing what people need. So you still have time to try and learn something or build something that can make you get to that next job role. So habits to develop while you are trying to get an internship placement. Always check your mails. As you are sending out emails, check your mails. I missed out on some opportunities because I was not checking my mails very often, and it will have been a very, very good opportunity because I didn't check my mails. So always check your mails. Try to build a brand for yourself. If you do something that requires you showcasing what you do, please do that on social media, on LinkedIn. Just try to create a digital voice for yourself. Also network with people. You don't know where that next job that is going to get you those dollars will come from. So try to network with people. You go for an event, tell them what you do, because anybody can just remember that, okay, this person told me that they do this, and just give you a call and tell you, okay, there's this opportunity somewhere, come and apply. Always network with people. Introduce yourself. After saying your name, tell them what you do. It is very important. Then send out a lot of applications. Have different options. Check out, use LinkedIn just to see if there's any job opening. Even if there's no opening and you like the company, just send out an email. One day somebody will just say that, okay, some people sent an email, let's just check it out and see if we can pick somebody from there. It's very important as well. So thank you very much. I think that's the end of my slide. If there's anything that I failed to say, and if you have any questions or clarifications, you can reach out to me as well. And if you have a job for me as well, my portfolio is out there. Thank you very much. That's all from me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Favor, for joining us. Yeah, for sure. Well, at the end of the session, there's going to be a Q&A session. So yeah, so ensure that you gather all your questions. We are going to be taking them. And without further ado, I'll be calling on our next speaker, Comfort, from who intern at Mecanu. So Comfort, if you're around, you can just go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'll be sharing my screen now. I'm coming. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I am Akitwa Comfort, a student of the University of Lagos, as you all know. And I'm studying metallurgical and materials engineering. I'm actually a 400 level student. So I was privileged to have my training at Mecanu International Limited, the steel factory to be precise. Actually, Mecanu, they have a lot of divisions. They have like 8 divisions. So I was privileged to work at steel fabrication because it's actually more related to my course. It's more relevant to what metallurgical materials engineering do. So my internship expectation. So when coming into the company, I had a lot of expectations, and one was to acquire relevant hands or experience to build skill sets and to improve my knowledge base in engineering. I'm an engineer, so I needed to know more about what it takes to be an engineer. I was just so happy I got Mecanu. I wanted to build skill sets. I wanted to just improve my knowledge in engineering. So the second was to increase confidence in my ability. So I needed to improve confidence in my ability. That was one thing I was expecting, to increase my confidence and later on to add to my resume, because all this experience, you have to add them to your resume and actually just give you high edge above others. So the third one is to contribute positively to the company. You have to make sure you can contribute positively to the company. So that was my expectation when moving into Mecanu. So like I said earlier, there are a lot of divisions in Mecanu. We have the power generation division, we have the electrical and product solution. We have the heavy construction equipment and forklift. We have Mecanu Motors Limited. We also have Mecanu Food Limited. We have Mecanu Medical Limited. We have Mecanu Construction Limited, and we have Steel Fabrication. So for power generation divisions, I think if you're an electrical engineer, if you're a mechanical engineer, you can work there. For electrical and product solution, if you're an electrical engineer, you can also work there. For heavy construction equipment and forklift, if you're a mechanical engineer, you can work there. Yes, mechanical engineer can work there. For Mecanu Motors Limited, it's majorly for mechanical engineers and electrical engineers. Then Mecanu Food Limited, you can, if you're a mechanical engineer, you can also work there because you'll be doing more of maintenance of machines they use there. So mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, you can also work there. So for medical limited, same with food limited. If you're a chemical, you can work there. If you're a mechanical, you can work there. If you're electrical, you can work there. So Mecanu Construction Limited is majorly for civil engineers. So if you're a civil engineer, you should work there. So steel fabrication, which is actually more related to what metallurgical and material engineering does. So that was why I picked steel fabrication. So these are the products of steel fabrication. We have the lockers, they make workers, they make supermarket racks, they make chairs, they make tables, anything that I do with metal, that was what we do, that was what we produce. And we make this engine parts, the outside layer, that was what we do. So move to the next slide. Okay, so while I was in a steel factory, I worked at different departments. I worked at maintenance departments. The machines, machines are subjected to breakdowns and stuff like that. So we maintain machines, we prevent them, we do preventive maintenance, we do corrective maintenance. So it's not really subjected to met and maths. Mechanical too can do something like that. Electrical too can, because I was doing mechanical work in maintenance department. I was also doing department. So the production department, this is what we do. Production department majorly, we actually we use machines. Actually, we use CNC machines, which is the computerized numeric control. These machines are programmed in such a way that they move like robots. So you just input what. There's actually a design department. So those design departments, they use AutoCAD to do the drawings and stuff like that, and they bring it to the production department, and we input the design into the machines, and the machines, anything you input, the machines are programmed in such a way that they move, they do the cutting themselves. We have the laser machines in steel factory. We have the plasma machines. We have the bending machines. We have shearing machine. We have punching machine. So these machines are CNC because these days, like the world is actually evolving, and these machines are actually automatic. You just need someone to just direct. They do actually majorly all the works. So that's it. So the welding department, so like, which is more related to my course of study, we weld metals together. We use different machines, and we carry out a lot of investigations on metals and stuff like that. So machining department is, this machining department, they use centerless machine, they use the rolling machines, they use some machines in mechanical department, that's what they use. So things to note. So okay, how I got Mecanu. So before I got Mecanu, I think last year before COVID, I applied online. I applied for a lot of scholarships online, and because of COVID, sorry, not scholarships, internship. So I think because of COVID, I didn't get them. I think they didn't really respond to me. They didn't really respond to me at all. So it was now when like it's not when we're not disturbing us that we should go and look for internship. So I didn't know what to do. I told my dad should help me if you know somebody. It's not told me that he knew somebody at Mecanu. So it was his connection that I used. I just kept disturbing my dad. I sent him, that time I was in school, I scanned my internship paper, I snapped it and I sent it to him. I said, "Dad, this, maybe you can print it, but I really need an internship. I really need it." So I think his friend helped me. So they just called me. I didn't do interview. They just called me and they told me to bring some necessary documents. They told me to bring not told me to bring my students my admission letter, my ID card, all those things. So that was what I did. And okay, while applying for online internship last year, I noticed that most of them they ask for resume. So if you plan on applying online, so you should, I think this is the best time to prepare your resume, have it down, make sure it's properly arranged, make sure it's properly set. So this is the best time for you to make sure you have a resume, and don't put something you cannot do. Don't put something that you did not do. Just make sure make sure it's related to the company you're applying for. Make sure it's related to the company you're applying for. Like for example, if I'm trying to apply for Mecanu International Limited, in my resume, it should be like, okay, I did something like I went for a week, something like that. It should be related to your course, to what the company does. So that's it. And okay, things to note. The industrial training should be relevant to your course of study. Yes, because actually I had my defense this week. The people that were there, the lecturers that were there, they just want to know if it's relevant to my course of study. If it's not relevant, they'll mark you 0. So make sure that the company you're applying for, make sure it's relevant to your course of study, because that's just what they want to know. That is it. So before applying, get to know about the company and get to know if my departments will be actually relevant to what they do. So that is the first stage. So okay, while you enter when you get the placement, try to build strong relationships. So there's something I can never forget. I remember when I was in Mecanu, when I was about leaving, I met somebody and he was like, he asked a lot of things about me, and he asked if I intend to apply for scholarships, like for my master's and PhD. I said yes. Then he helped me with a lot of things. He helped me with some materials. He helped me with a lot of things. He told me that, okay, if I need anything, I should just call him. He's ready to help. So these are the result of building strong relationships. You're not just only there to okay, you just want to get an A in SIWES 400. Also, you can still try to add other things. Try to build strong relationship to people at work. Just try to, and ask questions if you don't know anything. If you don't know, you don't know how the machine works, ask questions. Ask questions, because I operated on lesser machines, those big machines. I operated on them and I'm like, wow, so I can operate these big machines. So it's really fun. So ask questions if you don't know, just ask questions. So the 4th point says start applying for internships. It says you should start applying for internship. Apply online and apply online. Have all necessary documents ready, like I said. Have all documents ready, like your resume, have them ready. Okay, because from online applications, they ask for resume. So if you have connections, make good use of it. Like for example, if your daddy knows somebody that works in an oil company, that works in a company, just just disturb them. Tell them to help you. And I just pray it works out. So the stipend, okay, I was giving 30,000 monthly. So as I think they later increased the salary of all the workers, they increased it to, was it 39? They increased interns, they increased their salary to 39,000, I think 3940. So that was what I later collected at the last 2 months. Yes, last 2 months. So that is everything about Mecanu. And again, I think I asked some people in case you want to apply for online, like, because some people actually applied online. So this is the website, the application process. This is the website. Just go. I don't think they are actually looking for interns now. They're not looking for interns now. So, well, if you want to work at Mecanu and reach out to me, I'll help you confirm when you'll be accepting interns, when the registration will be starting, and things like that. So that's everything about Mecanu. Like I think Favor said, there's nothing stopping you from applying for like different companies. I think when I later got Mecanu, I think 2 other companies, they called me and they were telling me if I was free, if I haven't gotten, I told them I've gotten internship already. So there's nothing stopping you. Just apply for as many as possible. Then you have to pick which one works best, which one the one you have to spend more on TFE, the one that pays well, and the one that, I think the major thing is to pick the one that is relevant to your course. Let's forget about the money. Pick the one that is relevant to your course. Then can now consider some other small things. So that's it. Thanks for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, for joining us today. I'm sure we're all enjoying the session. We have 2 more speakers that will be sharing their experience, on our wait list. And we'll be wrapping up very soon. But I would call on Ayodele to, share our experience with us shortly. Ayodele, if you're around, you can proceed. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Let me turn on my camera. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me know when you can see my screen.
We can see your screen.
We can see your screen, ma'am.
So my name is Seriki Ayodele, or you can just call me Mia. I'm a computer engineering student and I'm a site reliability engineer at Demos. Demos is a cloud native developer and security operations company. Our purpose is to guide companies on the journey of adopting the cloud and for improved service to its customers. So this description is a bit technical. I have a simple analogy. So let's say we build a house and it's shiny and all that, and we leave it for maybe 2 months, so it's going to get dusty, but we can then employ people to help us maintain this house. So that's basically what we do as the engineers. So in our case, instead of like manual labor, we automate these processes, or we bring in other tools to make these things easier. So we write a bunch of codes and your house is clean. So clients bring projects to Demos and they bring their applications or their services, and then we automate the processes it takes to deploy code to production, and some other complex processes are involved in it. So this diagram is basically what we do. It's just automation and it's really just a loop. So I got Demos as my place of internship through She Code Africa. So She Code Africa is a female organization. They help to empower females in tech. So they had a 3 months boot camp for people that wanted to learn cloud computing, basically. So I applied for it. There was a task. You would use like Docker, like tools for container orchestrations. Then you would have an interview session. So the when you're done with like the 3 months of the boot camp, if you emerge as like the best, you get an internship placement at Demos because they were partners. So that was basically how I'll basically just be going over this, leveraging internship opportunities, the benefits of my program, and my day-to-day activities. So leveraging opportunities. So figure out what you really want. Basically, if you want to do like front end, don't go applying for back end or DevOps. You have to know what you want. That brings like focus into it. So you're like smart about what you do. Then don't think small. You can feel free to apply to the big companies you dream of working at. There is nothing stopping you. You can absolutely be picked. Then do the work. Doing the work involves you actually going through the processes of those interviews. Take for example something like Google. So if you're applying to Google, they have like a set of interview processes, about 10. So you have to go through everything. You have to keep going and going. That's doing the work, and then doing your research, knowing about the company, actually knowing what they do. There is luck, but at the same time, you have to work smart. Then join a community. Basically, in my case, I joined a tech community. So depending on what you want to work on, you look for a community you can join. Then you can find a lot of people that are in your field that you can relate to. Then get a mentor. So apart from the big people you see on TV that have already made it in your field, I think it's important to find someone, maybe a senior that's graduated, that works in that field and has probably succeeded. Someone you can just relate to on the same level and they have your time. So benefits of my program, diversity. So you get to work with a lot of people from different cultural backgrounds. It's a South African company, but they have a lot of people from different countries. Then the experience and the skills gained. So I've been a cloud engineer for about 8 months now, and I can say I know a lot, just 8 months. So before then I was doing like front end, but I had to switch due to some reasons. Then you get to work from home and you have time to do basically any other thing you want to do. So it leads to bigger opportunities. I can say for demos, but it's something I think that I've noticed. So when you get like opportunities at companies like Demos or some other ones, like other companies tend to try to offer you job opportunities, basically. Then there's work-life balance. So you can be working and you're not overworked. It's 9 to 5. Once it's 5, you're off. If your boss calls you, you can just hang up. Okay, so there's basically work-life balance. You get to do what you love, get to actually do other things. Then there is great intern salary. So the salary is I think it's just okay, maybe more than the normal expectation in our country, but they have great intern salary. Then my day-to-day activities. So this is just for like a basic normal day. It can be different some other days. Some other days can be chaotic, but for a normal day, so I attend my client stand-up for clients project. So for instance, I'm working on Patricia. So Patricia came to Demos. Patricia is a crypto company. So they came to Demos with their applications and services, and so you attend these stand-ups, you tell your project manager basically what you did the day before. Then you work on client projects. So we use tools like Jira boards. So tickets are created. Tickets are like the description of the work you're supposed to do for that day, or depending on the time estimation. So you just pick a ticket, and if it's blocked, if it's on hold, you move that ticket on the board. Then we have client or internal meetings. So client meetings are where we have meetings with the clients themselves, and maybe that could be for maybe to get context on what we are working on, or just for troubleshooting. Then we have internal meetings, so that's a company-wide meeting where you which just involves the employees of the company. Then I hop on calls to troubleshoot. This is basically the highlight of my days, because I'm always having bugs. There's something always blocking me. So I basically hop on calls with the big guys or my fellow interns, and they help to troubleshoot. Then I watch anime as maybe a reward for working hard, or if I'm just tired. Then that was basically off my slide. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you. If you have any questions at the end of the session. Thank you.
Your number.
I don't have number, I have email.
Yeah.
Give us your email.
Yeah, so without further ado, we're just trying to go fast with time because time is no longer on our side. I would just call on our last speaker before we go into the short CV, because we have a CV and resume workshop where one of our students as well would be taking us through that. So our last speaker that I'll be sharing his experience is Moshoriri, who interned at Shlom BJ. Moshoriri, if you're around, you can go ahead. Moshoriri, I'm sure you're muted. You can try to address that.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 All right, hi everyone. And can you see my screen as well?
Yes, I can. And you could as well go through the slideshow. I can't see your screen.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Moshoriri Ayemi, and I'll be taking you through a brief SIWES orientation and give some tips for successful IT. Okay. So intro, my name is Moshoriri Ayemi, and I'm a 500 level student of Petroleum and Gas Engineering at the University of Lagos. And yeah, for my internship, I actually interned at two companies. First of all, I was at Axela. Axela is a gas company. So what they do is they operate in the midstream section of the oil and gas industry, and they're responsible for gas transportation and distribution to end users, big companies. So I was at Axela briefly for 2 months, and then I moved to Shlom BJ. So Shlom BJ is an oil servicing company, and what Shlom BJ does is that they provide services to oil companies. So Shlom BJ, so we have big companies like Total, and we have Chevron and the like. So those ones own the oil fields or they operate the oil fields that where we get our oil and gas from. And Shlom BJ basically renders services to these people because they usually do not want to have a lot of workers on deck. So people that do the drilling and the completions and all of that, that's what Shlom BJ is responsible for. All right, so yeah, I'm just going to run through briefly how I got my internship at Axela and also at Shlom BJ. So for Axela, I wrote here that I should shamelessly reach out on LinkedIn. I remember when I was trying to get the internship, it was a really tough process. I mean, most of my classmates had started internships already, and then I was still at home. So what I did was to go on LinkedIn, and then I began to send messages to people, just brief 6-line message, telling them about yourself and that you would like to intern at their company. I remember I reached out to probably 50, 60 people, and then I only got about 5 responses. And then one person, which was the guy from Axela, asked me to send my CV. And then another thing I wrote here is to send cold emails. So there are actually a lot of times when sending your or reaching out to people on LinkedIn might not be as effective. And that's because you first of all have to send a connection request to someone working in the company, maybe to the HR preferably. And they do not accept your connection request. And so because of that, you can't even send them a message on LinkedIn. So in that case, it might be beneficial to send cold emails instead. And sending cold emails would require you to first of all even find the email addresses of these people. And you can do that by, there are a lot of email finders tools. I used Untitled for email finding, and you just get a format of what the company's email is like, and then you could just, through that, guess what the person's email address is going to be, and that works a lot of the time. 80% of the time, it works. And so when you do that, you send a cold email to the people. That one too was also try and error, and only a few people are going to reply you back when you send cold emails. But that definitely works as well. Next thing you can do is the next thing you should do is to have your CV ready, right? So I remember when the guy on Axela got back to me, was an HR, he said to send my CV and my SIWES letter. So you do not want to tell him to give you some time for you to prepare your CV and all of that. If you are going to be searching for an internship, it will do you good to have your CV ready at every point in time. It doesn't have to be so big and so bulky. Just highlight some experiences that you've had, maybe some leadership experience that you've had in school, and maybe some places that you might have worked at previously. You just put that in the CV and then send to them. And then for Axela, the next thing we did was an aptitude test. The aptitude test was virtual for me, and I have to say that has to be like the most difficult aptitude test I've seen. It was really, really difficult. Considering the fact that I went into the aptitude test thinking that we're not allowed to use calculator, so I did not take a calculator for aptitude, and then I had to do most of the calculations on paper and biro with the time and everything. So you would be writing aptitude test for Axela, and to do you good to prepare before time. So that was Axela. I was there briefly. I was there for 2 months. I remember when I joined them, they said to work with their finance department because the operations department was full at the moment. So they asked me to work with their finance department for 2 months and then move to the operations department afterwards. So I was actually in Axela as a finance intern before Shlomij came. So while I was at Axela, that was when Shlomij came. So for Shlomij, the company reaches out to you. So Shlomij, as the company that they are, I mean, they are the biggest oil servicing company in the world. And so they have this pride. They don't allow students apply for internships to them. Usually the only applications they take are for full-time jobs. So what they do is that they reach out to schools and request for students. So what they did during our time was to ask for the best two students from all the departments in engineering, right? And then we had the opportunity to now, so after they picked the best two students, they reached out to us, and the first thing we had to submit was a video cover letter, right? So they asked us, why do you want to work with Shlomij? And then you had to send a video cover letter. I remember that it was really, really insane because I work at Axela, and then I just saw an email saying we should send a video recording of why I want to work at Shlomij before 6 p.m. that day. And then you have to start working on what you have to write. You have to research the company, the departments in the company, and what departments you think you might be suited for, and how your course of study really applies to what you want to apply for. And then there's an aptitude test. So from the video cover letter, the shortlisted a few of us to, I think we're about 8 that wrote the aptitude test. And so when we wrote the aptitude test was quite simple and straightforward, but it's very, very time limiting, very, very time limiting. So there's an aptitude test, and then from there they picked 4 of us. So 4 of us from Unilag were at Shlomij from July till November. And another thing I have not mentioned is that if you are going to be working with Shlomij, you're not going to be working in Lagos. So when Port Harcourt for 5 months, and that was where we had our internship. So I remember it was me, and then a person from chemical engineering, one person from computer, and then another person from surveying and geoinformatics. So Shlomij is a very, very big company. I mean, the oil and gas industry requires a lot of expertise from people across different engineering fields. And so there is a place for every engineering profession in Shlomij. So yeah, that's that. And then another condition for confirming our offer was for us to have our accommodation. So if you are going to be going to Port Harcourt, they need to know, because the company does not provide accommodation for interns, but they need to know that you have a place to stay in Port Harcourt before they give you your offer letter. So that was another prerequisite to getting the internship at Shlomij. Okay, so pros and cons of working at Shlomij. So the first pro here is that it's a big name company. You tell people you're working at Shlomij, I'm like, that's really, really good. So yeah, there's a big name that's, I mean, it's going to look really, really good on your CV that you worked at Shlomij as a servicing company. Plus, if you have interest of working in the oil and gas industry eventually, yeah, working at oil servicing companies is always a pro, is always a plus always a plus. So there's that big name company advantage that Schlumberger gives you. And then the remuneration was pretty decent for Schlumberger. I mean, before I joined Schlumberger, it used to be 50K for interns, and then during that time they just really up their game for salaries. And then the next thing we have here is hands-on experience. So the work at Schlumberger is really practical. It's very practical. So you're working with these actual tools that they use to go work on drilling rigs. So for as an intern, you would not be taken to the rig because of safety concerns and insurance and all of that. But then you'll be at their maintenance base. They have several maintenance bases in Port Harcourt, and you will be assigned to a particular base where you get a lot of hands-on experience, wireline, drilling, well testing, well stimulation, and all of that. Yeah, so I was actually at the well construction department, well construction division, and in that division we had the electronics lab, the mechanical lab, we had the surface lab, yeah, and some other departments. So as an intern, you would have to move through all of these different departments in that division, through all the different departments in that division. And then con is, yeah, the fact that you'll be working at Schlumberger and you're working hands-on means that the work get really physical. It can get really physical. I remember the first day I started working at Schlumberger, and then they gave us our PPEs. You're not going to be dressed in office clothes. You're going to be dressed in coveralls and ADAT and safety boots and safety glasses. I remember the first day I put the ADAT on my head and I had this instant headache. This was instant. I was like, is this really going to be my life for the next 5 months? Next 5 months. So yeah, work will get really physical, and sometimes it could become even menial. It could become even menial when they ask you to clean up some things and all of that. So that's a big con for working at Schlumberger. And then another con is lengthy working hours. I mean, I thought 9 to 5 was bad. But you go to Schlumberger and then you work 7:30 to 5 every day. Every day of the week, Monday to Friday, no off days. So that was a really it was a really stressful period, working lengthy hours from 7:30 to 5, 7:30 to 5. So it would do good if you have a place where you stay like not so far from work, and then you could shuttle back and forth in say maybe 30 minutes. In 30 minutes. So yes, that's a big con of working. Those are the cons of working at Schlumberger. All right, so leveraging IT, right? So the first thing I said here is to adapt quick. Like I said, I knew it was going to be physical and then we dressed in PPEs the entire day, but I didn't know how difficult that was going to be. It was really difficult to adapt to a new way of life working at Schlumberger. Plus the time was, I mean, 8 o'clock classes in school were a dreadful thing, and then you had to be at work before 7:30 because work actually starts by 7:30. So you have to be at work, say maybe 7:20, 7:25. I mean, the first months at Schlumberger, I was a very perpetual latecomer. Well, eventually I got used to it, adapted quick. So the next thing is to ask a lot of questions. So sometimes the people you'll be working with might be very caught up in their work because they have to meet customers' demand. They have to get things done. There's always work to be done. And so they might not really have the time to properly teach and lecture you. So it's going to be responsibility now lies on you to actually want to learn. You have to be very intentional about learning. You ask a lot of questions. Just ask a lot of questions. As you begin to ask a lot of questions, the people that you work with begin to get interested in actually beginning to teach you. So yeah, ask a lot of questions. And then next thing is to aim to impress on every task. So when you're working at a company, it's very important that there's nothing like, oh, that is me for me, or that's the way I can do it. You have to try your best to impress on every task. They give you a job, you do it, you go overboard. Not overdo, but impress on every task. You're working because you want them to, oh, this guy is doing quite good. So yeah, aim to impress on every task. And then work on at least one project or improve one process. So it's actually a culture at Schlumberger. It's in the call Kaizen. That's continuous improvement. So it's important that every person that comes into the company works on projects or improves a particular process before they do. So if you are going to be working, generally for any internship, you need to work on at least one project or improve one process. It would be good that when you leave the company, they have something to like point out and say, oh, this intern did this for the company before I left, and then something that they continue to use or something they continue to benefit from. And then the last thing is network, and go beyond networking and build relationships. So networking is just means, oh, so and so, who are you? The person tells you I'm an engineer, I've been at Schlumberger for so and so years, and then you just know the person. Maybe you exchange contacts. That's networking, right? But then building relationship goes beyond that. Building relationship is actually having this one-on-one relationship with a particular worker to the point where they begin to even invite you for things. You guys go out for lunch together, and all of that. So yeah, I mean, we had expatriates from Ghana, from the Schlumberger branch at Ghana with us for about 3 months of towards last 3 months of our internship, and it got to a point where they actually used to invite us to their hotel, and then we just spend the weekend there and stuff like that. So build relationship with your co-workers, not just the professionals that are there, but the other interns that are going to be working with you. I mean, we had a lot of interns in my base from University of Ibadan, some from Ajay Crowther University. I think there was one from, there are people from different universities at Schlumberger. So try to build relationship with your with professionals at work there, and also with the fellow interns you have there. And yeah, that brings me to the end of my presentation. And I wish you guys good luck on the internship, because I mean, it could be really, really crazy. It could be really, really crazy. But I think by the time you put together all of the points that all the speakers today have raised, yeah, you would definitely land one as fast as possible. So yeah, thank you. That's all from me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Moshe. Just, I mean, there are a lot of questions, but we would come back to them. But, just in a minute, we also have someone from surveying, because I saw that there was a question about that. So Inyolua is around, and he's just going to, speak about his experiences, particularly for surveying students, in about a minute. So yeah, Inyolua, if you are here, you can just go ahead.
Okay, hi, good morning, everyone. Unfortunately, I'm not able to share my screen at the moment, but it's fine. So my name is Nulu.
You can try now.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Sorry. Please, we want to be seeing your faces, please.
Sorry, can you see my face now?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, once again, good morning, everyone. My name is Nilua Ayontayoju. I'm a geospatial analyst, and I'm not saying that because, maybe because of my SIWES experience, but because of the value that I've basically added to myself, even be outside the school experience, like, what you learn in class and everything. So I'm pretty much confident about myself that I'm really just a geospatial analyst. Now, I'm from Department of Surveying and Geomathematics, and I've noticed that it's quite common when it comes to my department is when it comes to SIWES, everyone is always anxious of, oh, I want to get money, I want to make money, I want to make it big, probably work in the hydro sector, work in the oil and gas sector, or where there is the money is actually there. But trust me, that might be a little bit deceiving. It's more or less like a facade, more or less like a mirage, which is not so. Yeah, it's good to. Don't get me wrong. It's actually good to have the mindset that I need to make money. But the first thing is you have to, for a SIWES, you have to start getting experience first, because with the experience you get to add more value to yourself. And trust me, the value that you add to yourself, with that is what you'll be able to, you'll be able to capitalize on later on in the future and bring true money and the dollars and the pounds and everything that you actually really want to. So this SIWES is basically like a foundation for your career. And trust me, a career, like if you have the mindset of a career, you know that a career is not something that you just meddle into. You need proper planning to actually get on with your with your to start your career basically. But there are different ways, and different speakers explain about their different experiences on how they got their SIWES and all. But like I said, it is very important that you plan. You need proper planning for to start for your SIWES and all. And there are 3 P's that I really love about the planning. There's the first is the purpose, the people, and then the process. Now, I know all of us here, we are very tech savvy. We like social media, Twitter, Instagram, and everything. But then you don't the way you utilize it is very important when you're sourcing for your SIWES placement and when you actually want to add value to yourself, because it's very good to have a balance. Like basically you have this aspect of, oh, I like to chill and watch football and follow the trends of latest comic videos or whatever and everything like that. But you also have to be sharp and smart enough to look out for opportunities, because trust me, these companies also make use of social media and they're watching, to a large extent, they're watching you every step. So it is important for you to utilize your social media very well. But this all comes under the purpose. Now you need your purpose. What exactly is your focus? What do you want? And in surveying and geoinformatics in my department, there are different branches. There's the hydro, there's the cadastral, there's the engineering surveying. You need to have a focus where exactly. There's GIS, Geospatial Information System, or Geographic Information System, which is where I specialized in. So you need to know where the aspects you want to focus on in the near future. And let me just give you a little bit of tip. If you are doing this, you have to be very smart about it, because you have to look at the prospect in the future, which as it is now, hydro is very booming. But trust me, come 20 years, max 20 years, GIS, Geographic Information System, will be the oil business in the future. So for this, you have to go on social media. Don't just use your social media for chatting and then chasing girls up and down as per. They know to get bids for engineering now. So more go social media, go find them now. But then use your social media influence and presence to basically source for opportunities. You have network with these companies, follow them, engage in their tweets, engage in their posts on LinkedIn, on Facebook, because there's some opportunities that they might not put out there. They put it out there on their social media platform. So if you might be lucky enough to actually fall into the time where they post it, and then you might get opportunity. And also the fact that on social media, there are some companies that have this social media policy where they restrict some of their workers from using social media. But then with this social, actually network with people that work in these areas, and you get experience from them, get a lot of experience from them basically. And doing this, it will help you when you want to when you are sourcing for your salaries. Basically, this really did help me because I had a lot of opportunities. But then this is the second step basically of the purpose. This is where people come. You need to meet with people, network with them. And then the process is now you looking at everything that is around you and selecting the eventual place where you actually want to end up in. Like I said, you have to be smart about it. You have to have a futuristic mindset to know where you want to be and why you actually want to be, why you actually want to be there. And the fact that you have to look at the potential of it, basically. So there's more details, but because of our time, I won't really expatiate on that. So my SIWES journey, basically, like I said, I interned at Eagles Orbit Spatial Solutions. Now, if you remember, I called myself a spatial analyst, yeah, and I said I was pretty confident about it. Why was I confident? Because, like I said, I've built value for myself outside the school environment. So my journey for my SIWES didn't exactly start at when we needed to go on SIWES. I'd been during holidays and everything like that. I'd be going on internships and different opportunities like that. So I basically just, I wanted more. I wanted to expand my horizon, but then because of some restraints, like accommodation and everything, I just decided, okay, I have to look at where the places I've interned in during holidays and pick, the area that really suits my purpose, what I actually want to achieve. And so I arrived at Geospatial Geographic Information System, which is GIS. Hydro is very good. Cadastral is very good. Engineering surveying is very good. But I had my own preference of GIS, and I have my reasons for it. So my company GIS is basically about training people for GIS research and analysis, coordinated field work mapping, map publishing, and project coordination. Now, all of this is you know, it might seem just short and okay, what's this? But when you get into the system, you understand, you really have a feel of it. But you know, having a feel of it, it might be quite tricky because trust me, everything still centers down to you as a person. You might be in a place where a lot is going on, but you don't recognize opportunities because your person, you are not really putting yourself to actually extract the best from it. So my point basically is, irrespective of wherever you find yourself, you need to put in your effort. You have to be very, very diligent about wherever your placement is, because trust me, if you are not, opportunities will pass you by and you won't, you know, you will not be able to capitalize on them. So from my own experience, like I said, I already had a previous experience with the company before it had got to internship. And you know, the activities that I was engaged in, trust me, I was actually even seen as not a SIWES student by my fellow interns. They basically thought I was a working staff because of the kind of activities that I was engaged in. Now, this is not as a result of just my internship, that internship period. It's basically because of the training that I had, the value that I added to myself, and I had shown and exhibited during the time that I had with them in the past. So when I came, it was not really like I was learning new things. I was basically like in a real workforce. I mean, I was doing different aspects, different departments, the administrative department. I was very much involved in the business department, the HR. I was very much involved in all of these aspects, which on a normal day, a SIWES student would not be exposed to. So basically, what my advice to you is, build value, add value to yourself. At the onset, don't let money be the main thing that you focus on and you want to chase, because see, life is like a maze. You just there's an out, there's an in, there's an out. But if you go in the wrong direction, you basically keep going in circles and circles, and you might not exactly achieve anything. But so I'll really wrap up on one of my favorite quotes by William Raduchel, which says, "Don't pick a job, or pick a boss, because your first boss is the biggest factor in your career success. A boss who doesn't trust you won't give you opportunities to grow." Now, this is like a two-edged sword. It is a two-way thing. If you have a good boss, but you yourself, you are not good, you say, you know this standing, and you're not ready or willing to learn, like you don't have an open mind, then trust me, the opportunity will just pass you by. You won't be able to capitalize on it. But if you have a good boss and you yourself, you are diligent enough to have a relationship with him, he knows you. Probably, he might not exactly be your mentor, but something close to that. Trust me, it's going to give you opportunities. It's going to open doors for you. Things that are beyond the normal. It's going to break the status quo for you. Like, it's going to go beyond it for you. And that was basically my experience at my SIWES placement. Because yeah, that's right about it. So thank you very much for that time. That'll be all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Loa. Really picked a lot from it. So yeah, we're very close to rounding up the session. We apologize for starting late and also apologize for going beyond our time limits. So we'll still come back to the questions. Currently, we have about 4 questions to attend to, and it's going to be very brief. So right now, we organize, the speakers have talked a lot about, having your resume ready, your CV ready, and, most companies go as far as asking and requesting for cover letters as well. So Bright is here to take us through that process, very brief. And yeah, you'd learn a lot from Bright. So, just keep your hands crossed. After Bright, we're going to be attending to the questions, then, we'll give our final notes. And yeah, for sure, the recording is going to be available for everyone after the meeting later in the day. So Bright, yeah, if you're around, you can go ahead. Thank you.
Hello everyone, can you hear me? Let me be sure everyone can hear.
Yes, I can, Bright.
Okay, awesome. So my name is Bright Waneri. I'm a final year student for Petroleum and Gas Engineering here at the University of Lagos. It's pretty been an exciting experience here, hearing from the vast, versatile experience from my colleagues, and I mean, it goes to show that the experiences were worthwhile, and we are having a great time. And for the next set of students coming into the SIWES program, is definitely going to be productive. So for my session, I've been told to handle CVs and resumes. And I just want to, Adamola, please can you allow me, okay? I think I can share the screen now. Please confirm if you can see my screen, please.
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Because of the time, I'll just zoom through this whole stuff, and then we get a show of what the expectations are to crafting a good resume or CV and cover letter. So there's this common debate as to what is a CV, what is a resume. So in simple terms, your CV elaborates all your experiences, like everything you've done, because the word curriculum vitae means your statement of life, basically. So you want to tell your journey, your experiences, and all. But your resume just is directly tailored into a particular role you are applying for, and which is very strongly recommended when applying for internships, SIWES, and all of that. Then you have your cover letter to really wrap up and create an impression of who you are, what you've done, and the impression you want to create on the company you're applying for. So for this purpose, I believe I'll be touching on tips that would help you land offers both locally and globally, because I know some of us would like to apply for top firms like Google, Tesla, Microsoft, Bank of America, and then local companies as well, like my colleagues have mentioned. So delving in. So there's a common debate as to what is the best form of resume order. So for me, having studied how resumes are crafted, it's come to the understanding that highlighting your name, your contact. Sorry, I think I was hearing some reverbs. Okay, so I'll leave it at this show. So highlighting your name and contact information, then you talk about your education, your work experience, volunteering and leadership experience, then skills and projects, award and certifications. So all of this creates an impression of the journey that you've had for most of what you've done, basically. And I would just want to run through the slides and then show us an example of a perfect depiction of this particular order I've created. So for then going forward into crafting the resume properly, what formats do you use? Font styles are usually recommended at times Romans, Arial, or Tahoma. Keeping it simple at 11 to 12 font size for your body and maintaining a single line space. Then 14 to 16 size is recommended for section titles. The section titles are the orders I stated for the previous slide, which covered your name and your work experience and voluntary leadership experience. Then it's very important to maintain a consistent layout, which should basically touch on a 1-inch margin alignment for the font size of your resume, and capitalizing and making your section titles as bold as possible. Then it's also important to keep a consistent format for the dates, like as highlighted on slide, June 2019 to AG, like August 2019, or if you want to really spell that out. Then for your experience section, which covers work, volunteering, leadership, you want to start from your most recent experience, then moving down to the list. This gives the recruiter a sense of, okay, you actually presented things chronologically, and they can see where you are coming from and the journey you've really taken. So when highlighting your experiences, speaking into your experiences, you want to make use of action verbs. So I've gotten to highlight these three formats. That is action verbs, qualifier plus quantity. I'll be showing you all of this on the CV format I created. So action verb plus qualifier. You want to qualify action verb to speak into what the action verb is really saying, and then you want to speak in terms of quantities like say percentages or achievements rated in terms of numbers, or all of that. And then you want to also talk about action verb plus what you did plus why you did it. This is very important because when maintaining a STAR approach like situation, task, action, and results, and maybe reflection, you want to use this format to really talk about your experience and summarize that. Then we have action verb plus what you did plus results, which also touches on what I said initially. And it's very important that the action verbs you highlight are related to the role you are applying for. So for example, now if you're applying for an engineering internship, you want to talk about like researched, you want to talk about compiled, you want to talk about coordinated, you want to talk about performed, conducted, those kind of action verb against, say, when you want to talk about more technical rules like analyzed, diagnosed, all of that. So moving into the cover letter, I just stated an order. So cover letter should talk about your name, should show your name rather, your address, your phone number, email address, salutation, the body which will elaborate on the relevant work you have already stated on your resume, the signature, and closing salutation. All of this I'll be showing you on my crafted resume, which I believe I should share after this section is done. So final tips for crafting a very good resume and cover letter. You should use your first and surname. So like actually for more reputable applications, you want to just tell them, oh, my name is Bright Waneri, without really talking about your mentioning your middle name, because everything is just in terms of the formatting. If you are still going to use your middle name, you want to make that consistent with your cover letter. That's just the point. So your email address should be professional. I mean, these days people just want to open emails without really wanting to make the emails as professional as possible. You want to make it chilled and looking professional, like Jack Paul, the example I've given there, jackpaul@gmail.com, Louis David 2@yahoo.com, as against Beauty Whites 14 at Yahoo or something, or say the king for all at hotmail.com or something like that. So you want to also talk about your home address, to be specific on your location, like Festa Town, Lagos, Victoria and Lagos, instead of number 22, Roger Close, Lekki, Lagos. All of this is for security reasons, and for the most part, if you are going to apply for global opportunities, they just want to see, where is this person located, so it gives them an idea of the dynamics that go on in the location you've placed, like when you say Festa, Victoria Island. So it's very important you use an active phone number and adding your LinkedIn URL. I think some of the speakers mentioned that you want to place phone numbers that are reachable, and also it's important to have your LinkedIn URL polished. I should have highlighted a really fine-tuned LinkedIn URL, but I think I'll show you on the resume I created. And you are only to highlight relevant skills that matches your experience. I mean, it's okay to want to really pull off the impression, but it's really important to stay within your experience, so that, I mean, in cases of interviews, you don't get stalled when the recruiter asks some questions that are not really matching your experience. So your skills should elaborate more on your experience, and I'll be showing you that as well. It's also important to have a one-page resume, even for CVs. I mean, one page is now, because most recruiters don't really have time going around checking all your 2 pages and 3-page work. You just want to keep it simple and highlight and showcase all your skill in the simplest of terms and immeasurable quantities. So you showcase your passion and enthusiasm. I mean, in the role you have applied for, especially for your cover letter, you want to talk about, oh, what value addition are you going to add to the company? You know, the Kaizen principle, which is now popular in Western culture, and you know, people, you have to be passionate, enthusiastic to add value to processes, and just like I think Ayodele and Befosa, she mentioned something around that, you know, adding value to the iCube team and the Demos team. Then do your research. This was mentioned succinctly by David Akomu. I mean, he said this. I mean, you want to do your research. You want to know what the company you're applying for is all about. You want to have all the ideas that would help you create a very good impression on recruiters. And you don't want to just apply for opportunities just for the sake of it. You want to apply for opportunities that matches your skill and your experiences. So I'll be going over the resumes and the cover letter I crafted for this purpose. Okay, so please, can you see my screen for the resume?
Yes, I can.
I think someone is writing on my screen, please. Did anybody write on the screen? Okay, thank you, Zof. Okay, so just to then highlight what I've said, you can see the name Louis David, Festac Town from our Lagos, you know, your mobile number, +234. You know, for the most part, it is very convenient to make your number look more generic. You know, it creates an impression. I've heard a recruiter say before that having your number, you know, that showcase your zone. You know, when you put +233, everybody knows it's from Ghana. When you put +411, they know it's from the UK, especially for international opportunities. And then the email address, and then your LinkedIn profile, as stated there. For your LinkedIn profile, you want to shorten your LinkedIn profile. If it has, say, your name, say Louis David XY999-A to Z. So you want to go to the settings and shorten your LinkedIn profile to make it look this professional. Now for the education, maintain a very good indentation, just like, you know, these lines here, and it's cut across your CV to make it look more professional. So University of Lagos, Akoka, Lagos, Nigeria. This is what we talk about, the consistency in your layout. Lagos, Nigeria, Nairobi, Kenya, Ogun, Nigeria, remote. I'll touch all of that later. So Bachelor of Science in Social Engineering. Putting your GPA is optional, actually. It depends if you want to, if you think you have gotten a very high GPA that would give you an edge. David Akomu mentioned that will give you an edge in applications. You also want to talk about, you want to showcase that GPA, but it's fine to also put whatever your GPA is. And okay, I just want to relay this experience. So someone had a low looking GPA, you know, in Nigeria, when you put GPAs, people just grade you and think that's all. But when the recruiter got to look at his experience, it was like, well, now I see why you have this low GPA, because we are focusing on developing all the skills. So it's also a way to impress your recruiters when they see maybe your GPA is low in quotes, and then they can see very beautiful experiences you've made. It could also give you an edge. So I recommend you put your GPAs if you want to. Then you want to put your expected graduation dates. So expected June 2023. God help us as to strike. Relevant courses taking helps you to show that, oh, while in my course of study I've really developed skills in this area that are now speaking towards the experience you can see down. Engineering mathematics, linear programming, operational methods, statistics and probability, all of this you see reflected here. Okay, so now to the work experience. This person worked at Orange.io as a summer intern in Nairobi, Kenya. For the duration, notice the dates. Okay, these are written in italics, the summer intern, August 2020. Now I will just go over this quickly. So the experience created an evaluation matrix to gain insights on 100 plus clients' needs and correlated the results with feasible market strategies to provide exceptional services while exceeding deliverable goals by 15% monthly. Now, notice what this has done when I talked about action verb qualify quantity. So you can see that reflected. You can see that reflected here. I mean, what did you create? An evaluation matrix. What was the quantity this evaluation matrix was going to qualify? 100 clients. And what did it later result into? A 15% uprise in deliverable goals for a month period. Perform statistical financial analysis, blah, 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 analyzing products, comparable percentages and penetration rates for the strategy team to increase market share gains. You know, this just goes to talk about the action verb qualifying what you did on the role. Then the other one, researching users and increasing operational satisfaction rates by 25%. So if you look closely at what has been done, you want to really see how this is tied into a course that I have put here. So for your linear programming, you know linear programming all about optimizing processes. So if you are talking about increasing customer operation satisfaction rate by 25%, that means you optimize that process, which is the course you had stated earlier, linear programming. So because of time, I will not really be going into depth and detail. So leadership experience, I see people saying, oh, if I don't have the work experience, then what should I really use for my resume? You can use leadership experience or volunteering, like I stated on the resume order. So for here, you see Cleaner Life Initiative as a program to volunteer, where Louis David currently works presently. You see the International Model United Nations, where she worked as a delegate, and the Engineering Students in Business, a pseudo organization, head of finance from the period of March to September 2020. So here, sensitize 100 market women and secondary school students in Odobolu village on effective waste management practices, which led to a 10% decline in roadside waste for 3 consecutive weeks. I mean, this experience is, if you check the order of this experience is linked to this one right here, because it talked about the action verb, what is it qualifying, and what was the result, which was a 10% decline. And then you have the International Model United Nations delegate. I know a lot of us do some sort of delegation roles, even in your class. You know, most of us had the opportunity to represent our class in some decision-making process. So you want to talk about what you've done. So facilitated group workshop for 15 delegates, 15 plus delegates. Now this 15 plus, in the way you put 100 plus, is a winner, because your recruiter will be wondering, oh, that means this person actually did more than 15 people, not just 15. 100 plus. We don't know if it's 125, we don't know if it's 150, but you just made it 100 plus. So it is a very catchy thing to see. Delegates in Asian Pacific Committee to develop a policy document addressing climate change and regional conflicts. Now, if you check this role, what does it really entail? So if you talk about 15 plus delegates, Asian Pacific Committee, developing policy documents addressing climate change. So this should give a recruiter, for example, a sense of, oh, you actually monitored some form of statistical analysis or whatever to really come up with understanding what should have driven the policy documentation in addressing this regional conflict you mentioned. Then compiled a project proposal on 4 infant malnutrition case studies, leveraging insights from Bloomberg, NEF, USAID, and World Bank Group, collaborated with delegates representing France, to develop the project working budget. Now, at this point, I know some people will be like, okay, maybe all these are really too much for, but the thing is, most of us are really done amazing things without really understanding what we've done. Trust me, these are just English per se that really buttresses on the point. Even as little as reading articles on World Bank Group, I mean, you could flesh out a proper statement with that. So going forward, head of finance at the pseudo organization I stated, engineering students in business, coordinated business organization fair, helping connect 300 lab students from different organizations such as Investment Society, ISEC, Cash Counter, and the Lagos Business School. Organized fundraisers, created events, and maintained expense relative to develop budget of 3 million naira. So this 3 million naira, for the most part, if you want to really impress whoever is going to read your resume, maybe you want to put international currencies like, say, the equivalent of 3 million naira to, say, $2,000. That is what you've managed, and it makes sense to also say that you now engaging 10 donor stakeholders in funding rounds. It's a little to say the petty things that finance does, like, oh, I managed money and I managed expenses, but what were these expenses and money you managed tailored towards? For here, it was tailored towards maintaining expenses, to develop now the working budget, and engaging donors to engage in the funding rounds. So for your skills and projects area of your resume, this now summarizes everything all the skills you mentioned, all the experiences you mentioned here into skills. So for you, I've said market research, strategic planning, financial analysis, data analytics, and policy formulation. I believe you can see them reflected here. For the market research, you can for sure know that there was a go-to-market strategy to implement to now improve the user experience from a linear updates. For strategic planning, you can see strategic planning here in this organizing fundraisers and all. For financial analysis, you can also notice your financial analysis here when you worked with the delegates in France to develop this working budget. Now for your data analytics, where does data analytics reflecting, I think also in this particular role, a policy formulation can be seen. In your data analytics, you also see it here when you sensitize 100 plus, and you also monitored how the data improved to 10% decline in road waste and policy formulation. So in your skills and project session, you also want to talk about the tools you know how to use. Many of us uses, I think someone was mentioning AutoCAD at some point in our presentation. If you are proficient in Microsoft Office suites, you don't say Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word. You just want to say, oh, Microsoft Office suites. So everybody know what's under the suits. Hello? Okay, so I'll be done quickly, please. So you have Google Suite, your Google Drive, Google Maps. You know how to really use them. Google Business, AdSense tools and all. Okay, I think I made a mistake here. This should have fallen under Microsoft Excel plus ThinkCell. I think I was trying to use ThinkCell to elaborate on the points. But yeah, then for Figma, this person did some user research cases. So Figma is a tool that helps you to wireframe and do some little prototyping. Then Gantt chart and Trello are all under project management, which should fall under, maybe if this person has worked closely with the team, there should be some form of project management there. So in your project session, you also want to talk about those little projects you've really done. It could be a simple logistics management system, and you can add a link. Now to add your link, I just have to do this quickly, just in case for those that don't know how to add links to. So if I put the link, put this bracket, put the link, do this, and then I like this whole place, and just I put put search link. It's going to take a while. Sorry. I think it's already like, okay. It's not working out. Okay, so you just add your link and maybe I have Luis David resume here, or put up and I put okay, and it quickly shows that, or it's just because I didn't highlight that properly. Without wasting time, certification and awards. The certification and awards should speak to your experience, like enterprise design thinking practitioner, all of these climate change cities and communities, which talks about the Asian Pacific Committee addressing climate change. So also just amazing scholarship you've gotten over the years. I receiving the SAPA scholarship in 2020 and receiving the engineering young leaders scholarship or whatever. So I mean, this fully fleshed resume, I don't know the impression it creates on you, but I think this would really wow a recruiter if they are going to really assess your skills. So I'll just roll over the cover letter. The cover letter, like I highlighted in the cover letter session, your name. So this is meant to be bolded really. First start down, the email box, your phone number, email, then salutation, dear sir/madam, or dear hiring manager, depending on what you want to use. So I'll read this fully and then close the session. So we just see how the resume is spoken to this particular cover letter. My name is Loris David, a penultimate year student from University of Lagos, majoring in social engineering. I am committed to pursuing a career in social industry, and I am certain that my work experiences, technical skills, and academic accomplishments make me a high quality candidate for the business technology internship at then paragraph. I have previously completed an internship in Orange, IO, a reputable startup in Kenya, working closely with the product growth team and conducting user experience researches. More recently, I'm at Rose volunteering for the community development program at Cleaner Life Initiative, serving as a delegate for the island nation of Cambodia at International Modern United Nations. Through these experiences analyzing products and collaborating with teams, I have developed feasible policy documents, go-to-market strategies, and honed my interpersonal communication and research skills. I have also had the opportunity to manage a 3 million naira budget, which you can say a $2,000 budget, for a fundraiser to engage 10 donor stakeholders for engineering students in business, working as the head of finance. Given my background in engineering, my leadership experiences and business management skills, I believe I'm a strong fit for the business technology internship at blah, blah, blah. I'm extremely excited about the opportunity to join and collaborate with the organization and look forward to hearing from you soon. I welcome the opportunity to discuss my qualification and aspirations with you at the earliest convenience, and I can be reached via so and so. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Lois David. So all of this approach helps you really fine-tune your work, and I would recommend, if you have issues coming up with the proper language or tune to communicate your work, you can use a tool online called Quillbot. Quillbot is a paraphrasing tool that help you really get your work neatly organized and sorted out. So do remember that before going into any position or applying for any role at all, be it SIWES or for external internships, you want to do your research properly. And on this note, I think I would stop this session. I hope you benefited from it. You can see some questions in the chat already. So yeah, Damola, over to you now.
All right, thank you very much, Bright. That was really an insightful session. I really learned a lot from the workshop, and thank you once again for joining us. Yeah, we're already coming to the close of the year, and again, I sincerely apologize for taking this amount of time. But then just to wrap up, Vivian will be handling the Q&As where some questions that were highlighted in the chat box will be attended very briefly. So yeah, Vivian, you can just go with that, then we give our closing remarks.
All right. Thank you guys for joining in the call. Thank you so much, Bright. That was an insightful section. I also had like takeaways from it. I'm also going to now update my series and cover letter. Thank you so much. So I'll be going through the chat so we can attend to questions. And I want to believe our speakers are still available because some of these questions are for them. So the first one says, what are the salaries for IQ Labs and Mecanu? So Favor, would you like to take that question? Because I know you already responded in your presentation, but it would be nice for them to hear from you and comfort yourself. Please, you can unmute.
Okay, for Mecanu, it was 39,000 naira. 39,000 naira.
Okay, I know you made mention of it was 30 initially, then they increased it by 10,000 naira towards the end of the intern.
Yeah, indeed. So I think.
All right, so I'm sure everybody heard that.
Yeah.
So you wanted to say something? Sorry for interrupting.
I said now it's 39,000 naira since it has been.
Does that mean any intern going into the company will also receive 39,000, approximately 40,000 naira?
Yes, they will.
All right then, thank you. So Favor.
Hello, good afternoon. So for IQ Labs, the minimum amount to get at an intern is 33,000. So along the way, if you participate in some hackathons and like to get extra amount of money, depending on the nature of job that you are doing. So the minimum amount to get at an intern is 33,000. So once you get your offer letter, you get to see the amount of money you will be paid.
All right, thank you very much. Yes.
Hello?
Thank you very much. So yeah. We can hear you. Okay, so I'm just.
Hey Vivian, are you still there? While we wait for Vivian, let me just go ahead and so second question is directed to Favor, and it's how are you about to connect what you did as interns in tech firms to your actual field of study, what you are currently studying in the university. So how are you able to connect the dots together, your experience and your work experience and your school experience?
Hello.
Yeah, Favor, you can go ahead.
So first, what I would like to say, I want everybody, when you are going for intake, I know a lot of people say we don't do courses that are related to what's been done in the industry, but I feel what I have seen is that most times we as students we tend to like sideline whatever we do in class. So there's this course I took in 300 level second semester. That course is basically everything I did in my internship. One of the courses that I took there is basically encompasses everything that I did in my internship. That is one. Then there's another course again that I took that also applies to what I did in my internship. Currently now in 500 level, there's a new course that I'm doing, which is still in line with what I did during my internship. So first of all, we have different opportunities and different learnings to take from each courses that we do in class. It's when we get to the industry, we tend to see how they play practically in the field. So we should be just be open-minded to see that, okay, I have done this one. So when to get into the field that you are working in, you tend to see that there's a line drawing what you have learned in class and what you have done in the industry. So even when you're coming up with a technical report, they tend to ask like, okay, what have you done during this internship that is relevant to what you've been taught in class? Because my SIWES coordinator asked us that. So that's where you now explain everything you have done and how it is related to class. Then if it is not related, you tell them that, okay, the theoretical aspect was not playing a very big role thanks to what you have learned on the field. So they will know how to like rebrand the curriculum. For my department now, the curriculum has been rebranded currently now, and we are like the first set that is trying out this new curriculum. Also, my course advisor to played a very big role in us working in tech firms, because we asked her and she said yes, we can go into software firms to do our internship, including electrical students, because somebody else asked that question. So make sure you ask your course advisor. Another thing too, I know that in systems engineering, they also, I've asked before I did my internship, I asked around as well, because I know in systems that it's advisable that you actually work in somewhere that they do things like engineering design, like pure engineering, because they tend to always ask, I hope you do not just go and do the work of a computer scientist. So it's advisable that you ask people that have done internships after their defense to know what kind of places you can do your internship as well. So you don't just end up wasting your 6 months, and when you come for defense, it's like you didn't do anything at all. Because I was trying to write my report and I'm like, I really don't know where to start from, but with the way he explained, and I don't know, I just started writing and things started adding up together. So just make sure that you ask people so you don't just make mistakes in going to the industry. You try to find out what exactly is expected from your internship program. Is for you to get working experience, industry experience. So it is important that, okay, you have a niche that you want to function in. If there is networking, there is communication, there is power, there is control. So just find something that, I think Ayo's presentation stated it too, just find something that you want to do. Be specific, don't just try everything. Coming from me now, there was a time I tried everything. I tried machine learning. Even if it's an added experience in data analysis, it is good. I tried machine learning. I tried front end. I tried back end. I think I have knowledge in some of all these programming languages. I learned Python at some point. I learned some things, but at the particular point, when I found out that, okay, this is what I like, thank God it was not late. It was maybe during the lockdown, I found out, okay, this is what I like, and I think this is the field that is for me. So just find a space, build it, and see how it relates to your field. If what you're interested in is not going to get you an A or a B in your SIWES internship, I think you should just do what gets you a good grade in your internship, because despite everything, your internship grade is important. You have to do something that is showing that, okay, you are an engineer, not that you just want to do something and make money, because we have people say that you just went to that company to go and make money, you didn't do anything. So just try to find out very well from people that have done.
Thank you very much, Favor. Thank you. You already answered our question on. You already answered the question on. Give me a minute, please. You already answered the question on being in elect. Can you apply to tech companies? And so, next question is for Moj. They said, "What do you mean by cold email?" Please, can you help answer that?
Okay, so when I say cold emails, it's just finding, like, if you're supposed to send someone an email, you probably ask for the person's email address, and then they are probably expecting your mail, right? But then for cold emails, it's just finding the person's email address off the internet and then going straight to the point about what you want and why you're reaching out to them. That's what I mean by cold emails. So these people are not expecting to hear from you. Sometimes it could feel like some sort of intrusion to them, and that's why the response rate is usually quite low. Maybe 5 to 10% of the time you get a response, but it could still be really effective sometimes. I mean, you shoot many shots and then probably want clicks. So that's what I mean by cold emailing, just finding the people's email address. Like I said, I used Untitled.io was a email finder I used to help me just find people's email address and then guess and verify if it was correct. So I use Untitled.io a lot. to find email addresses, and then I sent them emails and got some responses, some. But yeah, it could be really effective when you're trying to find internship. And what you should do is also, when you're sending that email address, make it as professional as possible, attach your SIWES form to it, attach your CV to it, and then the body of the email should be a sort of cover letter, like Bright already outlined in his presentation. So yeah, when you're doing that, cover letter as the body of the email, then your CWS letter, and then your CV as well, and then you send it to those email addresses. Do as many as possible, say maybe 50, 60 people. You probably get feedback from a couple of them. Yeah.
Sorry, please, where did you get the emails? Where did you get the emails?
Okay, so I'll just quickly explain again. So say you want to apply to, let's say, Axela, right? Let me say Axela for instance now, and then you want to reach out to a particular person on LinkedIn, or you see the person on Instagram. You know that this person works at this particular company, right? But you don't know how the company's email address is structured. One, you don't know. So the person could be, let's say, John Adeola, right? And he works at Axela, right? So you don't know if the format for sending to Axela is jadeola@axela.com or ja@axelagroup.com. So those are the things you are not sure of, right? So when you use Untitled, you already know a particular person you want to send to, right? And you just need to be able to like figure out the person's exact email address. You won't see that lying around on the internet. You have to search for it. And that's why I said I used Untitled.io. You could use it to find anybody's email address, really, and it comes out, and then you send them an email address. You send them an email, and hopefully you get a response. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Moshorire. So we'll just go over, there's a question for comfort. Sorry, let me read it out. Someone said, Comfort mentioned that it's your IT has to be related to your course of study. For Comfort, since it's December already, is it advisable to start searching from next year, as you will hear that companies are closing for the year already?
Okay, I will advise such person to actually start now. You can start by sending cold mails, send mails to them. You just have to start now, because they might not really answer you on time, but just send mails to them. I was just going through my mails, and I found out that I've actually sent a lot of mails to a lot of companies, and actually none of them got back emails to them. And think the major things that should be there is your name, your phone number, your course of study, your matric number should be stated, your name of institution should be stated, your duration of training. Try to state your duration of training. If you're applying for, I think we're all applying for 6 months. I don't know, maybe I think yours should be is it February to, I don't know the duration. I don't know, because actually mine was May to November. You state in your mail that you're applying for a 6 months internship. Then you state the months. Then you can state your GPA, and with the mail, we can add your IT letter, the letter you get from SIPO. You add it to it. If you're interested, just send me a DM. I'll just forward all their mails to you. I have for Egin, I have for Nesto. So if you're interested, just send me a DM on WhatsApp. I'll reply. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Comfort. So we'll take the next two questions and we'll end there, because time has been fast spent, so everyone can go do other things. Someone asked, how much impact does one's academic result have when getting internship? So I would have loved